Today on Network Africa, 11 Malian soldiers are killed in a French anti-terror raid. And a new report shows babies conceived in Nigeria's Niger Delta are twice likely to die because of oil spill in the region. Plus, COP23 begins in the German city of Bonn. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Disi Adebayo. It's Monday, so here's a review of major stories on the continent over the weekend.
Congo's Electoral Commission announced on Sunday that the presidential elections to replace President Joseph Kabila will take place on December the 23rd, 2018. Around 43 million voters have been registered for the vote so far. According to an official at the Independent Electoral Commission, the results are to be published on January 9, 2019, and the president to be sworn in on January 13th. The election, originally scheduled for late 2016, has been repeatedly delayed. Those delays have triggered unrest and raised fears the Central African nation could slip back into the conflicts that killed millions around the turn of the century, mostly from hunger and disease. Elsewhere, Libya's European-backed Coast Guard on Saturday turned back more than 150 migrants trying to reach Italy by boat, amid its heightened efforts to block such crossings of the Mediterranean. The migrants, packed into a single rubber boat, were intercepted off the coast between the towns of Al-Khums and Garibulli, east of Tripoli, after traveling through the night. The boat was close to an Italian Coast Guard ship patrolling in international waters when they were cut off and taken aboard a Libyan vessel, dashing their hopes of reaching Europe. The rubber boat was being rocked by heavy waves and the motor had been cut off. A large majority of migrants traveling to Europe by sea depart from western Libya, where people smuggling has flourished amid lawlessness and a collapsing economy. Most of those intercepted on Saturday were from West African countries, including Mali, Guinea, and Nigeria. Zimbabwean court on Saturday refused to strike down subversion charges against a U.S. citizen who now faces 11 days in a Harare jail until her next court hearing. Martha O'Donovan was charged on Friday with attempting to subvert the Zimbabwean government, which carries a sentence of up to 20 years in jail, after police earlier accused her of insulting 93-year-old President Robert Mugabe. Lawyers for O'Donovan argued before Magistrate Nomsa Sarabauta that police only informed O'Donovan of the more serious charges of attempting to subvert the government hours before her arrest, thereby violating the Constitution.
We were contending that the arrest was not in compliance with the mandatory provisions of the Constitution, and in particular that the police officers were obligated to inform our client of the reason of arrest at the time that they arrested her, something which they didn't do. Unfortunately, the court was not with us on that particular issue, and as a result, our application was dismissed.
But the magistrate said she was satisfied the officers complied with the law and dismissed the application. O'Donovan's lawyer, Obey Shava, said he would now apply for bail at the High Court on Monday.
And we continue in West Africa, where authorities are blaming a French anti-terror raid for the deaths of 11 Malian soldiers. The raid was reportedly targeted at militants in a camp at Abibara in northern Mali. The incident has been denied strongly by the French Defense Ministry. However, a proof of live video issued on 18th of October showed the men alive and calling for Malian President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta to secure their release. 6 days later, the French military announced it had killed 15 terrorists. Mali's Defense Ministry confirmed that it had seen a photograph of 6 dead soldiers and that the men had been among those in the video, but did not link their deaths to the Abibara raid. Elsewhere, Italian prosecutors are investigating the deaths of 26 Nigerian women, most of them teenagers, whose bodies were recovered at sea on a Spanish warship, Cantabria. The ship docked there carrying 375 migrants and the dead women following several rescues. There are suspicions that they may have been sexually abused and murdered as they attempted to cross the Mediterranean. 23 of the dead women had been on a rubber boat with 64 other people. Most of the 375 survivors brought to Salerno were sub-Saharan Africans from Nigeria, Senegal, Ghana, the Gambia and Sudan. And auditors at the Red Cross Federation have revealed that several million of dollars of aid money was lost to fraud and corruption during the Ebola epidemic in West Africa. The outbreak, mainly confined to Liberia, Sierra Leone and Guinea, required a massive humanitarian operation with around $100 million in cash donations dispersed to Red Cross societies in those three countries by the Red Cross Federation in Geneva. The Red Cross says in Liberia, $2.7 million disappeared in fraudulently overpriced supplies or in salaries for non-existent aid workers. In Sierra Leone, Red Cross staff apparently colluded with a local bank to skim off over $2 million. In Guinea, where investigations are ongoing, around $1 million disappeared in fake custom bills. The Red Cross says it's deeply sorry for the losses, adding that it has introduced stricter financial rules and has promised to hold any Red Cross staff involved to account. Fraud involving donor money is every aid agency's nightmare, and the Red Cross is the world's best-known organization. Around 11,300 people died in the 2014 to 2015 outbreak in West Africa.